chapter which we are going to discuss is TK Inter library. Okay, TK Inter. So this is a library provided by Python. This library you don't have to explicitly add it because it comes along with your standard Python installation. Means when you'll install your standard Python, along with that this library come. And using this library we are going to create GUI applications. Getting? So some people might be having some idea about creating GUI applications in other languages. Like some might have done it in Java using AWT Swing. Some might have done in C++ also using Qt library. Some might have done in .NET framework. So nearly many languages give facility. Python is also not an excuse. In Python, there are abundant libraries for creating GUI application, but in that one I have selected the famous one, that is TK Inter library. Okay, so using TK Inter library, we will be designing standalone GUI applications. Get it? So you can create your standalone games like calculator or a notepad or a minesweeper game, so many things, calculator, many things you can design using TK Inter library. Okay, then the second chapter. Now this first chapter is also going to be very exhaustive because in that lot of widgets we have to study. Many widgets are there like label, text, area, scroll bar, radio buttons, checkbox. Abundant widgets are there. So using that widgets we will be creating our GUI programs. Then some exercises I'll give you. Okay. Now advanced Python is more of practical base. Basic Python was more of conceptual base. In basic Python, lot of concepts were there. Here now it is an application. Okay, so it is more of application oriented, so more towards practical way. Then the second chapter is for database access. Now you people might be knowing about what is database management system. There are abundant of database management systems available. The database management system, they are software which manages your large amount of data in the form of tables, and then you can perform different CRUD operations on it. Like you can create your database, you can insert record, delete record, update record, you can retrieve record. And for doing all this, you don't have to write big algorithms. For that, there is a non-procedural language called query language, structured query language, SQL, right? So database management system is having its benefit, but I want to take benefit of Python language also. Python is also having its own benefit. So I want to bridge these two things. And for that, there is a Python library in which you can use that library and interface your Python program with this database management. So in short, in this chapter, we'll be seeing how we will take the benefit of Python language also and the database management system and form interaction between it. Clear? So database handling in Python. Now this also many of you might have done it in other languages, like in Java you might have done as Java database connectivity. Some might have done in PHP also. Okay, I started with C. I did database connectivity in my life. First time in C language we did it. Clear? So many languages, host languages, give facility of interacting with database management. Okay, so here we'll be seeing how we can bridge these two technologies, your host language Python and your database management, and how to take the benefit of both. Then the third chapter is for turtle graphics. It's purely a graphics chapter. Here we'll be seeing how we can control a turtle. Okay, so there is one turtle and we'll be commanding that turtle. We'll be giving instructions to the turtle, and the turtle, according to the instruction, it moves, and as it moves it creates patterns, or you can say it creates mark on your screen, and as it is creating mark on the screen it will generate different graphical pattern. Okay, so turtle graphics is also by default coming along with your Python installation. You don't have to explicitly install it. It's by default coming. Okay. And using that, we will be producing different graphics. Using that different graphics, you can create your own beautiful screensavers, many things. Okay. So turtle graphics using Python. This concept of turtle come from a very old language called Logo language, which is nowadays taught in schools. Even in fourth and fifth standard, they teach this Logo language. And in that Logo language also the same thing, a turtle is there and we command that turtle. Getting? And as we give instruction to the turtle creates what? Mark on your screen. And when it is producing mark, it produces different patterns. Okay. Then fourth chapter is multi-threading. Multi-threading will give you introduction to concurrent programming. Getting? Concurrent programming means you can run different parts of a single program simultaneously. Means you have one program, inside that one program there are different subparts, and then running that subparts concurrently. Concurrently meaning simultaneously. Means one CPU only is giving attention to all these parts. Means every part is getting run in a time shared manner. Getting? So that concept will be learning. Multi-threading is a very long, old concept. Multi-threading was initially implemented in C. Then many other languages are there. Python is also not an excuse. So we will be learning here how to run concurrent code. Means how to execute different parts of a single program. Okay. Then fifth chapter is devoted for socket programming, or you can say Python network programming. Here we'll be learning how to write distributed code. Distributed codes meaning two Python program running on two different machines. They are physically different machine, and then the two programs which are running on two different machines, they are interacting with each other. Those two programs are interacting with each other. One program may take the role of server, one may play a role of a client also. Getting? So how to write a distributed code, or how two Python program running on two different machines interacting with each other. Getting? Now socket coding also was very long back implemented by Unix people. Those who developed Unix, they introduced this socket coding in C. I did in my life first time in C. Even Java has provided. Python is also again not excused. And you'll see that Python socket code is very, very small comparative to C socket code and a Java socket code. Okay. So here we'll be learning how to create a client server program using Python. Then using this concept, you can design your own chat application. And for creating that chat application, take the help of tkinter library. Using tkinter, you'll create your own GUI, and then use this socket coding to interact between the two programs. Okay. Then sixth chapter which we have devoted is for XML processing. Now XML is a separate tag based language. As we have a HTML language, same way XML is, both are tag based. As HTML is a tag language, XML is also tag, but their purpose are different. XML is basically for storing information, and then that information different applications can use it for their internal purpose. So we'll be seeing how we can automate this XML files. Means how we can process this XML file through PHP script. Okay. But for this, there are different libraries. These libraries don't come along with your Python. You have to install it. How to install, everything we'll be learning in that appropriate chapter. Then seventh chapter is learning one web framework called as Django. You have to call Django, don't pronounce that D, because in Romanian language D is not pronounced, but they write it. Actual pronunciation is Django. It's one framework, but Python has given many web frameworks like Flask, then Web2Py, many more are there. Clear? Abundant web frameworks are there, but the famous one is Django for developing dynamic websites. And using this Django framework, you'll realize it कि how creating dynamic websites become so quick work. Getting? But there are many other languages also which have their own facilities. Like some may say like I'll use PHP. No worries, like, but Python also has given its own web framework called Django, and using this you can develop your dynamic websites. So the main intention of this whole course is to make you uh, introduce with different path of Python. So these all chapters once you cover, you are going to get different path for your future. Many doors are going to get open. So now if you want to make some career in only web development, so you can use Python Django. If you are interested in ML and DS, the next chapters are useful. If you are interested only in automation, then you can use all this XML, Excel, that you can do it. Getting? You're only interested in creating standalone applications in which database handling, you can use this. So much facilities Python has given. Then eighth chapter is dealing with Excel files. Now Microsoft Excel, many of you know it. Excel is creating the data in the tabular form, and they are kept in the form of sheets, and then many sheets makes a workbook. So every Excel file is called as a workbook. Inside that workbook there are sheets, and in sheets there is data kept in tabular form called rows and column. So if you have abundant of data and then you want to do analytics on it, like you want to calculate mean and max and standard deviation and deviation variance, so many things are there, clear? And you want to implement some predictive model also on that, clear? So you can use this concept, that is XML handling, and for Excel handling, and Excel handling libraries are also abundant. One from that I am going to teach you. So Excel handling in Python, you can write your Python script in which you can automate that Excel files. You don't have to go in the Excel file and do all the operations. Through your Python script, you can do all that activity. You can design your Python script which can analyze the data and build graphs from it. Getting? So all that we'll be learning in this chapter. Then ninth chapter is learning one more library provided by Python, that is NumPy library. NumPy is specially for handling arrays. Array is not a new concept to you. I hope you know it. Array is a collection of homogeneous value. Homogeneous means all the values of same type. So all the values of same type, we call that group as an array. And that arrangement can be in different way. It can be a one-dimensional, two-dimensional. Two-dimensional means rows and column. Then three-dimensional and any n dimension. And then performing different operations like adding two matrices, subtracting matrices, multiplicating matrices, adding some constant value in it. So many activities are there. Right? Then finding minimum, finding maximum, counting, searching. So many activities are there. We'll be learning all that. Okay. So NumPy library is specially for dealing with arrays. Okay. So that library will study. If your NumPy concept is clear, it will be very much helpful for ML and DS if you are trying to enter in machine learning, data science. So there the prerequisite is you should know NumPy library. Getting? And then the last chapter is which will be giving you introduction to data analysis. In that also I am going to teach you one library, that is Pandas. So Pandas library is also very much useful. Now some people use a separate specialized language called R programming. I'm sure many might have heard about R programming. R programming is specially for created only, that language is created for data analysis. But Python is also not an excuse. Python has designed their own library called Pandas library, and using that you can do data analysis on it. So in this I'll be teaching you Pandas library, and using that Pandas library how we are going to do analysis on the data. Getting? Different operations are there. Many statistical operations are there. We'll be learning that all statistical operation. Not only analysis, after that we'll see how to visualize it also. Visualize means producing pictorial graphs from that data. So how to produce graphs, then cleaning of data, get it? So lot of activities are there.